Hey up, it's Steve from the Old Yorkshire Geek, and welcome to my Sunday live news stream. I've always got to think what day it is, haven't I? Welcome to my Sunday live news stream with just some articles I've found that have piqued my interest. And to finish off tonight, because it's the last news before Halloween, I've got 3 ghostly videos. 2 of them are connected, 2 of them are like the same thing, but you know, whatever, from different sources, but showing different things of the same case, I suppose you could say. And another one from Nuke's Top 5. Anyway, but that's later on. That's at the end. Right. So, what am I saying? I don't know. Before we start, don't forget, like and subscribe. Share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. We're live on YouTube. Fingers crossed. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We're live on Rumble. Just a minute while I check and refresh and press play and all that silly things. Yes, we're live on Rumble and we're live on Twitch. Let me share that. That does me head in. You can't share a Twitch live stream until it's actually live streaming. There might be some other way to do it. I don't know, because Twitch baffles me anyway. And I've how many? I've still only got I've only got 4 followers. Better than 2. Only had 2 the last week. Got 4 now. Yeah, I've doubled my followers on Twitch. Right. All right. Later on, I'll be uploading it to Spotify, Amazon Music Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. Links for all the stories in the description. Later on, I'll put timestamps in. I might start chopping them up and putting them on the channel as separate videos. Everybody seems to do that, so why don't I? I might do that if I can be bothered. What else? And I'm also on Facebook, X, and Instagram. Links in the description. As I have links to my 2 books, I can get to them because there's only 1 DVD on top of them. My 2 books: Silent Predator, a short horror novella about big cats eating people in North Yorkshire, and Mercury Rapids, with all the reflections on. A light-hearted sci-fi action adventure about UFOs and aliens, obviously, and alien abductions and, invasions and the moon and a comet and what else happens. Oh, and all sorts of things. Right, so let's get on with the news, shall we? Right. By the way, rest in peace, Matthew Perry. A bit of a shock, that, wasn't it? Can't say I were a big fan of Friends, and I don't even know what else he were in, but still a bit of a shock. He was a famous person that I knew of. And a few days ago, Richard Roundtree died, didn't he? But at least he was in his 80s, 81. That came as a surprise as well. Obviously, Shaft, and I know him more from. Although I've seen Shaft, but I know him more from Q, the Winged Serpent. He was in that. Anyway, right. So off we go. Make myself teach tiny. And let's have a look at the news. Splodosh, there we go. 5 Nights at Freddy's bearing down on $130 million global bow international box office. And there's the thing. By the way, I'm supposed to be playing this. I'm going to live stream. Can you see it? There you go. The 5 Nights at Freddy's PS4 game. I don't know if it's the original game or if it's like a spin-off, because it says 5 Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted. I don't know if that's just another title for the same game or what. I don't know, but I'm going to be playing that at some point. Maybe tomorrow. You never know. You never know. And I've not seen the film yet. I don't know if it's available over here, to be honest. Let me check. See if it's on streaming over here, because I don't think we get. It's on Peacock, isn't it? Yes, it's on Peacock in America, but I don't think we get that over here. So I don't know if it's on like Amazon or whatever. Let me check. My Amazon. Did they go on to Prime Video? What am I looking for? 5 Nights at Freddy's. There's Freddy's Fridays and Night at the Museum, but no 5 Nights at Freddy's. So no, it's not on. Unless I've spelt it wrong. I've spelt it right. Yes, I've spelt it right. So no, it's not on Amazon, and I don't know if there's any other way to see it. I don't think we get Peacock. 5 Nights at Freddy's UK release. What's that, man? Right, 25th of October in the UK, and I'm guessing that's a theatrical release. So I don't know when we're going to get it streaming. I don't know. That's at theatres, or as we say in the UK, at the pictures. Right. So, where were we? All right. Yes. Reading the article. Right. The phenomenon that is Universal Blumhouse's Five Nights at Freddy's is currently looking at a global opening of $130 million. So it's probably quite good because I think only America, maybe Canada, I don't know, gets Peacock. So everywhere else, it's in cinemas. But not in the UK. Oh, hang on. Yes, it is. It's October now, isn't it? Yeah, so it's in the cinemas now, isn't it? I'm thinking it's out in a month. It's bloody October now, isn't it? So yes, that's why it's probably quite high because everybody outside of America has to go to the pictures to watch it. Right. It's currently looking at a global opening of $130 million. Fazbear and crew are playing in 64 international box office markets, where they are expected to reach $52 million through Sunday. By the way, I have no idea. Fazbear. Oh, it says there. Foxy, Chica, Freddy Fazbear. Oh, so that's the Freddy of the title. I know nothing about Five Nights at Freddy's, by the way. And Bonnie. Right. So it's doing well. It's doing well. And I thought it wouldn't do very well because it's been beaten to the punch by films like Banana Splits, which was a similar sort of film, wasn't it? Willy's Wonderland. Was there another one? Or is that then just the two I'm thinking of? Yeah, I think that's just the two I'm thinking of. And Willy's Wonderland. Both which were a lot of fun. A lot of fun. But I don't think this is going to be like a gore fest like they were, because I think it is at PG-13. I think it's more aimed at a younger market. I think. I could be wrong. Anyway, the worldwide number reps the biggest horror opening. What does reps? What does that mean? I have no idea. Deadline keep using these little words that only they know what they mean. The worldwide number reps, whatever that means, the biggest horror opening of the year and the biggest global debut ever for a Blumhouse title, ahead of Halloween's $91.8 million. What does reps mean? I mean, I'd say beats the biggest horror, or is the biggest horror. I have no idea. Freddy's is marking the biggest original horror opening of 2023 overseas and the second biggest horror opening of the year, just behind The Nun 2. Another film I also liked. I wasn't a big fan of The Nun 1. I thought it was a bit meh, a bit naff. And but I quite like The Nun 2. I like the look of it. I thought it was, very well shot, and the characters were quite good in that, even though they were the same characters essentially that were in The Nun 1. But I did enjoy it. I thought it were better than The Nun 1. I'm probably alone in that. It's also the top offshore horror opening of all time in Chile, Peru, and Uruguay. On Friday, Freddy and Friends picked up $13.3 million, including Mexico, $2.1 million, UK and Ireland, $1.5 million, Australia, $900,000, Brazil, $800K, Germany, 800,000, Poland, 800,000, and Saudi Arabia, 600,000. Saudi Arabia, the new home of WWE, according to Vince McMahon. What a knobhead. For Blumhouse, the Emma Tammy directed pick had the best opening day ever in an estimated 16 markets: Germany, Brazil, Australia, Argentina, Netherlands, New Zealand, Bolivia, Chile, Central America, Colombia, Uruguay, Peru, Saudi Arabia, Finland, Sweden, and Norway, and a very close number 2 in Mexico. I had a very close number 2 earlier on. -4% versus Halloween. It just named every country in the world there, didn't they? No, I know they didn't. The video game adaptation also scored the biggest horror opening day of the year in an estimated 15 markets: Mexico, Germany, Australia, Argentina, Netherlands. How many countries of these have I been to? Ukraine, Many of them. New Zealand, Chile, Uruguay, Ecuador, Peru, Saudi Arabia, Finland, Sweden, and Norway. A bit of Germany, and Sweden and Norway, but not Finland. Did I say Austria? I meant Australia. I've been to the Netherlands as well. It was number 2 for 2023 in Brazil, Singapore, German-speaking Switzerland. Is that a separate area of Switzerland? I have no idea. I've been to Switzerland. Can't really say if I noticed there were separate parts of it with different languages. Maybe there is. Central America and Colombia. We'll have a full update tomorrow. All right. Was that today? What's today's date? Oh, maybe there is a full update now because this is from yesterday. Whatever. Whatever. Is this it? Is that? No, that's the one I'm looking at now. Right. So let's go to the home page then. Where the hell do we go? Press that and see what it says. See what it says. Jason Blum on what sparked is. Oh, there we go. Is that one I've just read? Oh no, it's a new one. It's a new one, right? Sunday AM, Universal Blumhouse's big screen version of 9-year-old video game Five Nights at Freddy's has hit an unprecedented $78 million opening. What did I say before? Can't remember. $4.4 million shy of what Universal, deadline, wowed with earlier this summer in firing up Oppenheimer, $82.4 million. Right, very good. Right, okay, so it's probably just repeating what we've already said, but we'll carry on. Rivals are spotting $80 million. What's that supposed to mean? Some in the business, including Exhibition, will argue that they saw this tidal wave coming, that they saw big numbers right in front of them. And you were right. Yet while pre-sales indicated a huge hit, the whole Peacock day and date of it all, which wound up knocking out projections on Halloween Ends a year ago, which were crap. I bloody hated that film. Projected at $50 million plus, came in at $40 million, was the swing factor here. On the Peacock side, the studio exclaims that the Emma Tammy-directed Freddy's had the biggest opening for the OTT service. Does OTT over the top? I don't know. What does it mean? I don't know. And it's the most watched and most subscription-driven driving content title since it dropped on Thursday night. Blah, blah, blah. I'll put this link in the description. So there we go. So it's doing well. It's doing well. A recap on revised records. Right. So it's 130.6 million. I can't remember what it said before. Can I go back? No, if I go back. Right. I'm back again. There we go. They were saying 130, weren't they? And I was expecting to reach 52 million, and it actually got 70. So there we go. So it's done better than expected. I couldn't remember. But yeah, so it did make its 130, but it actually made, what did it say? 70, 78, and they're only expecting 50. Wow. So ahead of the Nun 2, the biggest Blumhouse global debut of all time, ahead of Halloween, 91.8 million. Blumhouse at the moment can do no wrong, can they? Apart from Exorcist Believer. But anyway, stateside Box Office Analytics Corp, Intelligence, says Freddy's clocked 6 million admissions over 3 days, the most ever for a horror movie, monitored by the Stat.org since their post-pandemic launch. Deadline. Corp, Stat.org. Just type words, will you? Biggest opening weekend for a horror pick. YTD? I have no idea. The uses, I don't know the mean. Yet to date, I don't know. Yes, I'll say yet to date. Why don't you just put it's not Twitter or X or whatever. You haven't got a limited amount of words. Besting Scream 6, 44.4 million, which I've not seen. Second biggest opening ever for a video game pick, behind Super Mario Brothers, 146.3 million, and ahead of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, 72 million. The biggest Blumhouse opening ever, ahead of 2018's Halloween, 76.2 million. Highest opening for a Halloween weekend movie, beating Puss in Boots, $34 million. It's also the 19th time a Blumhouse movie has bowed at the number 1 spot. Bowed. and will bring the genre label's domestic box office to more than $3 billion. Wow. Second biggest theatrical day and date debut after Disney Plus's Black Widow at 80.3 million. The third largest debut for any horror film ahead of Halloween, 76.222 million. And behind only It, 123.5, and It Chapter 2, $91 million, respectively. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, so it is a PG-13 there. Highest opening for any PG-13 horror film, surpassing The Mummy Returns, 68. But The Mummy Returns, it's not a horror film, is it? I mean, the Mummy from 1999 was just barely a horror film, wasn't it? You know, it had its moments, but it was more of an action adventure, wasn't it? Same with Mummy Returns, even more so. So I won't call it a horror. Although it's based on a horror franchise, obviously. The biggest opening weekend for a horror film directed by a woman, ahead of Candyman, 22 million. There we go. I'll put this link in the description later for you to read that. So there we go. So Five Nights at Freddy's breaking records and stuff or nearly breaking them, or doing very well anyway. Particularly for a film that's launching in theatres and on Peacock at the same time, but not internationally. There we go. Right, let's move on. Where's my F11? It's there. Right, next up. Oh, God, we're sticking with deadlines. More abbreviations. Right, here we go. There you are. Lionsgate moving forward with Henry Cavill and Chad Stahelski. Apologies. Highlander reboot as action fantasy pick heads to AFM. No idea what that is. To enliven a strike hit market. Maybe it'll tell us what AFM stands for. I'm just glancing, see if it says anything. It says there, AFM. I've no idea what AFM means. Because obviously, if you're a deadline reader, you've got to know all these abbreviations. It's how they weed out the people like me from the proper nerds, the proper cinema nerds. Anyway, right, exclusive. In the world of Highlander reboots, there can still be only one. See what they did there. And it's a good one at that. The first time, Lionsgate will be launching sales at the AFM. What does AFM stand for? Maybe it says there. There's a link in there. Right. So the tag AFM, what does it mean? I'm clicking it. Latest in AFM. I don't know. It just tells me lots of other what's got AFM in. AFM market. So it obviously stands for something. I don't know what it means. I don't know what AFM means. I'm going to have to look it up. Right, we'll go back. I need to know what AFM stands for. AFM meaning. It's not audio frequency modulation, is it, for a start? Oh, dear. As for me, it's not that one either. It's not about acute flaccid myelitis. It's not that either. Air Force medal. It's everything but what Deadline thinks it means. Atomic force microscopy. Association of Financial Mutuals. After full moon. Like I said, it could be anything. A frigging mess. That's what it stands for. Aircraft flight manual. Oh, it could mean anything. It could mean anything. I'm going to put AFM meaning and a deadline because they like using it, don't they? No, I still don't say. Still, American film market. Could be American film market. Right. Why don't they just say that? Why don't they just say that? We'll say that American film market. Right. This will be welcome news for AFM. Hang on. No, I haven't done yet. I haven't done this bit, have I? Where were I? For the first time, Lionsgate will be launching sales at the American film market on their long gestating fantasy reboot, which has Henry Cavill aboard to star as the eponymous Scottish swordsman and John Wick filmmaker Chad Stahelski set to direct. Is Henry Cavill Scottish? I'm just asking because it'd be this, another a reboot of Highlander, but they don't actually have a Scot playing a Scotsman. Henry Cavill. It says English. It just says British. Where were he born? Where were he born? He's actually from Jersey, so he's almost French. So he's from Jersey, which is in the Channel Islands. If you didn't know, the Channel Islands are a group of islands which are part of Great Britain, but actually off the French coast in the English Channel. If you didn't know. And it was only part of the British Isles that were essentially occupied, not essentially, they were occupied by the Germans in World War II. Right. We hear this would be a big budget proposition, north of $100 million. Stahelski himself has previously talked about it as akin to John Wick with swords. The team is eyeing a 2024 start. It's a strike permitting, I suppose. This will be welcome news for American film market buyers, whose pool of pre-sale projects has been diminished by the ongoing strike. The new movie will be based on the 1986 original, which starred Christopher Lambert, or Christophe Lambert, Sean Connery, and Clancy Brown as immortal beings hunting down one another and collecting more power. The time-jumping film, with its "There can be only one" tagline, spawned 4 sequels and 3 TV series. 4 sequels, I'm trying to think now. Are they counting the one that were essentially a movie, well, a TV movie spin-off of the series? I think they are they? Anyway. And 3 TV series, including the popular USA series starring Adrian Paul. Queen memorably provided the soundtrack for the original movie. Yes, well, they did some songs for it, didn't they? But the score was by Michael Kamen, I think. Producing the reboot are Joshua Davis, Fast and the Furious producer Neil H. Moritz, Stahelski through his 8711 Entertainment Production Company, and Louise Rosner. The current draft of the screenplay is by Mike Finch. That name rings a bell. The late Peter S. Davis, producer of the original Highlander, initiated development of the new film. Summit first acquired remake rights to the original in 2008 or 2008. Take your pick. Former Superman and The Witcher actor Cavill remains in high demand. Among movies in post are Matthew Vaughn's Argyle, which is coming out soon and looks interesting, and 2 Guy Ritchie projects, including World War II pick The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Is that the one that's essentially based on Ian Fleming and Christopher Lee? I think it could be. Ian Fleming obviously will go on to write the James Bond books, and was around, wasn't he, in the early days of was it the OSI or whatever they called it, before it became like British intelligence and all that during World War II. He set that up, didn't he? Or was part of it. He didn't set it up, he was part of it. And so was Christopher Lee, apparently. And the story is that Fleming based James Bond essentially on Christopher Lee, who was his cousin or something. Stahelski has directed all 4 John Wick films, which have been a goldmine for Lionsgate, taking more than $1 billion. He previously talked about the new Highlander as the first in the trilogy, but we've not had word whether that's still the case. Cavill and Stahelski were attached and reported before the strike. The arrival of the Highlander reboot is a shot in the arm for the American film market, whose business has been hampered by the Film Actors Guild strike. This and Kevin Costner's Horizon movies, I've never heard of, no know what they're talking about, which we told you this week would also be on sale, are the 2 biggest budget prospects revealed for the market so far. A number of packages haven't come together or aren't being officially announced due to strike restrictions or anxiety over optics. Frankly, given the limitations posed by the strike, I've been surprised. The author of this article, Andreas Wiseman. I've been surprised at the number of new or reworked projects that are on sale. Many are shooting in Europe. There are still a handful of pre-sales packages for buyers to get their teeth into, even if more action may be done this market on completed and near completed movies. So there we go. So I'm looking forward to that. It'll be an excellent Highlander, would Henry Cavill. Even though he's not Scottish. Why won't they cast a Scotsman as the Highlander? It's obviously kept Christophe Lambert being French, of course. In the original, famously, they had the Frenchman playing a Scotsman, and they had a Scotsman playing an Egyptian who lived a lot of his time in Japan, but at the time of the film was claiming to be Spanish or living in Spain or whatever. Anyway, so there we go. Looking forward to that. Right, let's move on. Oh, this one's a funny one. Not funny, amusing. Funny, well, quite sad to be honest. But anyway, let's see what we say. James Blunt, remember the singer who looks a lot like my nephew, says Carrie Fisher's daughter blames him for Star Wars Legend's death after he took drugs with her. Now, I've got to be honest, I was surprised when I learned that James Blunt takes drugs. I always thought he was like this wholesome chap because he used to be, he was an officer, wasn't he, in the British Army. And I always thought this wholesome fella. Anyway, James Blunt has said that the daughter of Carrie Fisher holds him partly responsible for her death because the two took drugs together. Blunt, 49, was close friends with the Star Wars icon, who died aged 60 in 2016 and lived with her in Los Angeles while writing his first album. The singer was with Fisher the night before she was found passed out during a flight 4 days before she died in hospital. Blunt said that while Fisher's previous best friend confronted her about her drug use, causing a rift between them, I took a different approach and did them with her, pretending to myself that I would guide her to redemption one day, just not today. He added that the lives we tell ourselves are the hardest to forgive. Writing in his memoir, loosely based on a made-up story, that's the title of it, Extracted in the Sun. I hate that bloody rag. Blunt said that he was closer to Fisher than almost anyone else in the world older than his wife. She told me which girlfriends were suitable, was the first person I told when I met my wife. Obviously, she wasn't his wife at the time. And we chose engagement rings for her together. She also knew where every unmarked grave of mine lay, and where every guilt stemmed from. She was complicit too. I don't know what the top of. That's very cryptic, isn't it? And kind of dark. When I arrived home one morning with a love bite on my neck and my girlfriend of the moment about to arrive, Carrie grabbed her 16-year-old daughter and gave her a love bite as well. Oh, okay. Then Carrie summoned me over, offering her own neck, and told me to give her a love bite. When the girlfriend arrived, we all had love bites. Okay. There was also an issue with drugs. Carrie had long been open about her addiction, but at some point it was obvious enough to be of concern. I stood many times at the foot of her bed at 3 a.m. listening to the laboured breathing of someone sounding close to death on heavy medication. Not long before she died, I asked her to be godmother to my son, telling her that I wanted her to take care of herself so that he might know her when he grew up. Charlie, her best friend, confronted her more directly and told her she needed to quit drugs, but was ostracized by her as a result. I took a different approach and did them with her, pretending to myself that I would guide her to redemption one day, just not today. The lies we tell ourselves are the hardest to forgive. As a result, her daughter, Billy Lord, blames me in part for her death and no longer speaks to me. I'm not surprised. Fisher was buried in a giant ceramic Prozac pill, according to Blunt. I have no idea if that's true or not, but it's Carrie Fisher, so you never know. You can see a picture of it on the CD disc of my first album. What? He said. There are only 2 of them in the world, and the other one is my most treasured possession. Has he gone mental? Fisher died of a cardiac arrest. A post-mortem found that she had cocaine, heroin, MDMA, and other opiates in her system. Loosely based on a made-up story, a non-memoir. So, is he making it up? because it says there, loosely based on a made-up story, a non-memoir by James Blunt is out now, published by Constable, priced £20 in hardback, also available in ebook and audio books. There we go. So has it just made it up then? Is it just being like, I don't know, is it true or is it a made-up story for his book? I have no idea. I don't know. We'll have to ask him. James Blunt, if you're watching, maybe there's one person watching, so maybe you are. Drop me a line and tell me if this is true or not, because I don't know. Let's move on. Oh, hang on, I'm pressing the wrong button. Let's move on, because that were weird. That. Now then, bounding into comics, so it might get spicy. Got to say that. It's the law. Right, here we go. Where we go? There we are. Spladosh. After Kathleen Kennedy admitted the company had taken the fun out of making Star Wars, director Shawn Levy, don't know, says his mandate is to create a movie with fun and warmth. Shawn Levy, I'll say Levy, I don't know. Shawn Levy shared an update on the Star Wars film. Because there is word levy, isn't there? You know, levy taxes and stuff like that. So you pronounce that levy, don't you? So that's how I'm going to pronounce that. I bet it's wrong. Pardon me. Need a drink. Excuse me. Right. Let's proceed. Anyway, Shawn Levy shared an update on the Star Wars film he's working on by revealing he received a mandate from Lucasfilm to create a movie with fun and warmth. Levy's comments come just a year after Kathleen Kennedy admitted Lucasfilm took the fun out of Star Wars. Yes, they did. And there's Shawn Levy. Looks weird, doesn't it? There's something going on there. You know, there'll be skeletons in closets. I'm just guessing. He might be completely wholesome, like I thought James Blunt was. But I don't know. If you recall, Kennedy, who is Lucasfilm's president, admitted to Vanity Fair back in May 2022 that she and Lucasfilm had removed the fun from Star Wars. Yes, essentially they did. For the most part. She recalled she had the realization after viewing a video montage of herself, George Lucas, and Steven Spielberg when she received the Milestone Award from the Producers Guild of America. Kennedy said, "What I was so taken with is how much fun we were having. It's amount because you didn't have any responsibilities, Kathy. Back then. You were working for people like George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. You were basically getting coffee and probably making phone calls, and that would the amount of your producing skills. You know, phoning up locations, maybe, you know, doing location work and making sure things were arranged. You were doing that sort of thing. You were essentially a secretary. That's what you were doing." I forgot what I want now. There we go. What I was so taken with how much fun we were having. It amounted to this moment of realization. I do think a little bit of fun has gone out of making these gigantic movies. The business, the stakes, everything has been infused in the last 10 years or so. There's a kind of spontaneity and good time that we have to be careful to preserve. I keep holding on to it better be fun, she added. Oh, why haven't you made it fun then? Where's that advert there? Go away. There she is. Whatever. Now Levy shared an update on his Star Wars film and revealed the mandate he received from Lucasfilm is to make a movie with fun and warmth. There's the YouTube link. After confirming his film is not an Ewok origin story, being funny, you see, he revealed to Horowitz the film is still very much in early development, not as far along as I'd like, Josh. That name again. Not as far along. I definitely have an idea. Again, long pause, and now very much re-engaging. But it's development. I mean, it's early development. But I'll also say I really want to make that movie. He continued. And obviously, Kathy and Filoni and all the kind of the brain trust at Lucasfilm. They're trying to juggle and coordinate a lot of pieces in film and in television. But the spirit of Kathy's outreach to me, which was, your movies have a consistent sense of fun and warmth, and that's what we want the Shawn Levy Star Wars movie to be. It'll not happen. It's not going to happen. That's what we want Star Wars to be. I'm running with that mandate. It's the only way I know how to approach the work anyway. So to play in that sandbox, it's a blast. And every day, just cooking up ideas. Levy added, it's ongoing and it's a long runway. When asked what makes great Star Wars, Levy responded, listen, we've seen different tones succeed. We've seen Andor and its strength, which was good. I enjoyed Andor. We've seen The Force Awakens and its strengths. I quite like The Force Awakens as well, because, it was setting things up. It wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and it has been tainted by what came after and, other things. But I did enjoy it at the time, and I'd probably still enjoy it. If I watch it again, I'd probably still quite like it. We've seen Rian Johnson's Star Wars movie and its strengths. Its strength is that it looks nice. That's its only strength. And it's got a good score by John Williams. There you go. Everything else, flush it down the toilet. For me, and again, I can only make things that flow from me in an intuitive way. Notice how I don't mention Rise of Palpatine. For me, and again, I can only make things that flow from me in an intuitive way. For me, I guess this reconnects to episode 4, 5, and 6. It's a combination of swashbuckling fun, swagger, but also a depth of relationship connections. What are you willing to sacrifice for either a person or an idea? And in the best Star Wars movies, it's both, he stated. Levy previously discussed the film with Variety, informing the outlet how he would approach Star Wars differently from others. When Kathy Kennedy brought me on board to make a Star Wars movie, her central mandate to me was, I want a Shawn Levy movie, and I want a story and a tone that reflects you and your taste and what you bring to your movies with a Star Wars story. He added, so I have felt extremely empowered. We had in the early days. So has he, Taika Waititi. And that's not happening, is it? Unfortunately, because the development process was abruptly paused due to the WGA strike. But I feel very empowered to trust my instincts in the development of this story and movie. Everybody just still wrote, didn't they? I bet they did. Bet they did. They just changed the dates and stuff on their computers, or they just wrote it, in pen, so that they wouldn't have like timestamps on their files on the computers. Just wrote the old-fashioned way, got notepads out, started writing. I bet they did. A lot of that happened during the strike. Later in the interview, he would be asked if Adam Driver would reprise his role as Kylo Ren in the film. Levy replied, your words, not mine. As you know, Adam is a buddy, and I've always been a huge fan of Kylo Ren, but no comment. What do you make of Shawn Levy's comments about his Star Wars film? It's not happening. And I don't know how they're going on about it now. Apparently, it was announced last year. Maybe I did a story about it. I honestly can't remember. When I read about it, this recent resurfacing of this story, I couldn't remember seeing it mentioned before. It came out of the blue for me, even though I may have done a story about it. I have no memory whatsoever. But I don't think it'll happen. It'll be like all the other Star Wars films that are not going to happen. And the only one I thought were going to happen was the Dave Filoni one, and I'm not entirely sure that's going to happen now, to be completely honest. So we'll just wait and see what happens. Right, let's move on. That's generally all I can say about it. You've got to wait and see what happens. But I don't think it'll happen. I don't think any of these Star Wars films that they've announced are going to happen. Not in the form that they've announced them in. Maybe some things will get rejigged at some point. But anyway. But I don't think they're going to happen as planned. Right, let's move on. I don't know why the Top Gear theme's going through my head now for some reason. I thought I'd got me. Yes, me had blockers on. All right. Right. For All Mankind. Oh, hang on. I haven't F11'd it. There we go. Right. For All Mankind, Season 4 is inspired by one of the best westerns ever. For All Mankind, Season 4 continues to explore new frontiers of space travel on Apple TV, and now they're looking back at a cowboy classic. Right. Oh, is it happening soon? I'm getting ready to renew my Apple TV membership subscription, shall I say. Because For All Mankind is the only reason I ever subscribed to Apple TV. Because it's amazingly good. Right. We're just days away, says Tom Beasley. Does he write this when he's he's off school, isn't he? Weekends. We're just days away from For All Mankind Season 4 on Apple TV, and we were fascinated to learn of an unusual inspiration behind such a technologically advanced sci-fi tale. It turns out that the latest season drew major influence from the 1948 Western classic, The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, which I've never seen that, to be honest. I like Westerns, and I've never got around to watching that one. I said The Searchers was an amazing film. Not a big fan of spaghetti Westerns. Maybe I'm just racist towards Italians. I don't know, but never been a big fan of them. But your traditional American Westerns, I really like. Anyway, on the face of it, there isn't much similarity at all between For All Mankind and the prospectors hunting for gold in one of Hollywood legend John Huston's best westerns. However, the movie was a key touchstone for showrunners Ben Nadivi and Matt Walpert when they were planning the next chapter of one of the best sci-fi series on Apple TV. And there are some great shows on there, so that's no mean feat. As Apple TV has also got Foundation, hasn't it? I quite enjoy season 1, to be completely honest. I've not read the books, so that's probably why I liked it. What else is on there? That's all I can think of. We talked. No, there is other stuff. We talked a lot in the room about the treasure of the Sierra Madre and a lot of westerns where this idea of how greed and competition for wealth can impact human beings. Walpert told Collider ahead of the For All Mankind season 4 release date. I think season 4 is going with the corporatization of space and what's using space for finding resources, like mining the asteroids. I think that's what season 4 is going into. In season 3, they'd essentially just landed on Mars. But there's always like time jumps between seasons, so I'm guessing something's gone further along. But anyway, we'll see. Right, the new season follows the further exploration of space, and in particular, there we go, the process of mining an asteroid. In the hope, I don't read these articles before I start. I just look at the headlines and think, that's interesting, and we'll see what happens. The process of mining an asteroid in the hope of uncovering valuable resources. It's this sort of quest that, in Walpert's mind, tied this space show to the westerns of the past. He said, a lot of the roots behind exploration are for resources. You're exploring things to find resources. I don't know why I said them differently. I said resources and resources. And the asteroid belt is the gold mine of the solar system. I keep saying that, don't I? But is it? We'll see. There's so much valuable stuff in them there hills over there. We've been intrigued by this idea of as the space exploration expands and it becomes more about like, wow, these resources that are just so rare on Earth but are abundant in space, like is it helium-3 and stuff like that. How would that impact how people behave and how countries behave to each other? And what's the new race for those? That becomes what the space race is the race for resources and for riches. Right. Season 3 ended kind of on a bit of a cliffhanger, to be honest. We found out that America and Russia were racing, not America and Russia, NASA and the private corporation were racing to get to Mars first. But it turned out they'd all been beaten by North Korea, of all places. And it kind of ended on a cliffhanger because this North Korean fella that were there, stranded on Mars, essentially, he shot somebody, killed somebody. Spoilers. And it kind of ended on a cliffhanger, I think. I'll have to watch it again. This looks set to continue the fascinating alternate history put forward by one of the best Apple TV shows. In the context of a continued global space race, resources would absolutely be the next frontier after pure exploration. And that is definitely a story with parallels to westerns like The Treasures of the Sierra Madre, in which characters venture ever further out of their comfort zone in an attempt to find their fortune. The showrunners have us won over already. It's not all good news for this show, though, with For All Mankind Season 5 already off to a rough start before the 4th season has even aired. What does that mean? Oh, there's a link there. What does it say? It just says already off to a rough start. Well, I'll click that in a minute. And if you can't wait, then check out where another of the best team blabbers about Foundation. Right, so what's happening with this? Sorry, I'll just click it, see what happens. For the first time in For All Mankind history, the writer's room for the following season isn't up and running as the new season premieres. All right. For All Mankind will be back on our screens at the start of November when season 4 of Apple's acclaimed science fiction series returns. If you've been following the room, the writer's strike, oh, right. So the writer's room hasn't been assembled yet. So they'll be running behind. But everything's running behind because of the strike, and the actors are still on strike. She's in Russia. So there we go. Right. Oh, it's done. It's on another thing. Never mind. Right. So there we go. So we'll move on. So I'm looking forward to For All Mankind season 4 and season 5 whenever it happens. I've said it before. I kind of look at it as sort of Star Trek Origins, even though I know it's not Star Trek, and Star Trek is even mentioned in it, so it's so it's not. But it kind of gives me that vibe, like a proto Star Trek, like before Enterprise and all that. Anyway, right, let's move on. It opened a new window. That's what it did. Right, what's this one? Speaking of Star Trek, that's what we're doing for the next 3 articles. We're speaking of Star Trek. Right, Star Trek's most underappreciated actor. That's not entirely true, is it? Because everybody loves Jeffrey. Is it Combs or Combs? Anyway, Star Trek's most underappreciated actor starred in horror's most underappreciated Shlockfest. And again, that's not true either, because almost everybody loves Reanimator. See, there's Trashy, and then there's Reanimator, which is a film that I think everybody's seen. And if you haven't seen it, why not? Go and watch it. Classic 80s horror. I think from Charles Band. Is it Empire Pictures, or it used to be? Anyway, that famously ripped off the Psycho theme, and somehow they got away with it. The theme is just the Psycho theme. I don't know why they didn't get sued, but they didn't. Right, low budget shock horror existed well before 1985. Hammer, the British production company, perfected a style of horror so kitschy that it's actually brilliant. Yes, Hammer films are amazing. But one American horror movie took up Hammer's mantle thanks to its unique mix of. Sorry, I'm just losing my mind. Thanks to its unique mix of grotesque storytelling and pitch dark humour. That movie was Reanimator, a campy horror flick that didn't care how trashy it looked. This absurd horror classic is now streaming for free. Where? I don't know. And it's the perfect time of year to check it out. Classifying Reanimator is tricky. It's technically an adaptation of the H.P. Lovecraft short story, Herbert West Reanimator. Though it doesn't have, it's not much like it, to be honest. Which might make you think there's a gothic element here, but that's very much not the case. On some level, what Lovecraft attempted is the same thing the movie is going for, a contemporary Frankensteinish tale about the dangers of bringing people back from the dead. It's one of his pulpier, more commercial, and generally weaker tales, but it still has Lovecraft's tone. It's very atmospheric. Well, I thought it was. Right, Reanimated, lots of cellars and stuff. Lots of cellars in it. Spooky and like stone and all that. People doing experiments in dank cellars. That's what it is. Reanimated does not what? I forgot the previous thing. What's it on about now? Is it Mr. Last sentence. It's one of his pulpier, more commercial and generally weaker tales, but it still has Lovecraft's tone. And then it goes on there. Reanimator does not. Oh, it's on about the story. The original story still has Lovecraft's tone. That's what it's on about. I don't know about the film. And Reanimator does not. Yeah, because you wouldn't know if you didn't know it was based on H.P. Lovecraft. You wouldn't know because it's not Lovecraftian at all. But most films based on Lovecraft stories aren't Lovecraftian at all, really. With the exception of is it Dagon? Is that how you pronounce it? Dagon. But anyway, which was directed, oddly enough, by the same fellow that directed Reanimator. Anyway, because most of the action takes place in labs and focuses on literal mad scientist Herbert West, Jeffrey Coombs. I've always pronounced it Coombs. And I've met him and I never asked him. I met him at a convention, got his autograph. He called me Pinkskin. And I never thought, is it Coombs or Combs? I've always said Coombs. Because in the UK, we have a famous actress called Pat Coombs. How was that spelt? I don't know. Was that 2 O's or just 1 O? Nah, it were 2 O's. It were 2 O's. Right, so it's probably Combs then, isn't it? Whatever. Reanimator is as much gonzo sci-fi as horror. If you dialed back the gore way back, you could imagine Herbert West as a Doctor Who villain, or even someone from a Halloween episode of Murder, She Wrote. Not really. West, a medical student, brings people back to life with a special serum. In the pre-title sequence, we find him in Switzerland, struggling with the dying, bloody body of Hans Gruber, no apparent relation to the famous villain from Die Hard. West then goes to Arkham, Massachusetts. Arkham's, famous in Lovecraft's stories. And where, Arkham Asylum from Batman came from, essentially. That was the inspiration. Massachusetts to continue his depraved work, which involves the occasional murder. Hey, you've got to break a few eggs. I don't know. Did he actually murder somebody? Or there's like accidental deaths that he takes advantage of. I'm not sure if he actually murders somebody. Anyway, Stuart Gordon, director of Reanimator, but Combs is its bloody heart, best known for playing a gazillion Star Trek characters brilliantly, to the point where he once played 2 different aliens in the same Deep Space Nine episode. Anyone who knows Combs as Wayoon or Shran will find Reanimator doubly disturbing. Combs plays... I'm going to say Coombs. Ability to play anti-heroes and unsettling villains is clear throughout his body of work, but Reanimator is the career-defining performance of a deeply underrated horror performer. It was good in The Frighteners. He played a baddie in that, didn't he? Sort of. Coombs doesn't just make West a nebbish geek with a scary side. He gives West a hidden set of ethics and a cold confidence that clashes with his overt dorkiness. If you could somehow mash Christian Bale in American Psycho with Matt Frewer in Lawnmower Man 2, which I've not seen. I don't know if I've seen American Psycho. I've seen clips of it. You would get Coombs. Well, would you get Coombs or would you get Herbert West? I don't know. That's a meandering compliment, but it is a compliment. West is creepy, but amid all the camp... Oh, pardon me. Oh, dear. About 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so before I went on air with his show, A Wolf Down a Big Mac. Oh, dear. And then I was going to wolf down my apple and grape bag. I don't get fries anymore. I get an apple and grape bag. But they didn't put an apple and grape bag in. They put a carrot bag. So they've gone in the fridge. Right, anyway, that's a meandering compliment, but it is a compliment. West is creepy, but amid all the camp, he seems real. And there he is with... is that the dean of the college that he brings back? Oh, it's all the people that he brings back kind of go crazy and they're a bit zombie-ish, sort of, but like the remake Dawn of the Dead zombie thing, where they're like raving and mental. Apart from one. The rest of Reanimator, of course, does not seem real, and that paradox makes the movie click. Like a cheap glue, a trashy campiness binds Reanimator together, making it a patchwork greater than the sum of its parts. When senior scientist Dr. Hill, David Gale, who I think looks just like, I forgot his name, that American politician who ran for president. I forgot his name. You know him when you see him. I think he just looks like him. Anyway, David Gale threatens to. I think he was a Democrat. I think. So I'm gonna have to look that up now. Previous presidential candidates. His name list of United States presidential candidates. Right. Right. Off we go. Oh, John. Yeah, is it John Kerry? Yes, John Kerry. Yes, looks just like John Kerry. Yeah. I think he does. When senior scientist Dr. Hill, David Cale, or John Kerry, threatens to take credit for West's discoveries, West takes him out, cuts his head off. Oh, yes, he does kill. Yes, I think he whacks him with a shovel or something like that, and then chops his head off. And separately reanimates his head and body. Later, in a plot development that has random go with it music video logic, it's revealed that Hill can telepathically control other reanimated zombies. Why? Don't know. This keeps Jeffrey Combs' compelling baddie from being the movie's most evil character. When West calmly chats with Hill's disembodied head in an infamously gross scene, you're rooting for West to triumph. And I think in the sequel, I think it's in Reanimator 2. I could be wrong. Don't you get wings? The head of Dr. Hill. I'm sure it gets wings and flies about. Or is it in the first one? It's a while since I've watched Reanimator, so I can't remember. There are conventional good characters too, but these people aren't why you're watching the movie. You're not even really watching it for the gore and the zombie horde. Yeah, you are. You're watching for Jeffrey Combs. Well, yeah. He steals every scene in a way not seen in horror since Jeff Goldblum in The Fly. If good horror is about examining the human psyche, then Reanimator gives us one of the scariest and most horribly creative humans of all time. Reanimator is streaming for free on Tubi. I don't know if we get Tubi over here. I'll have to look into it. I don't think we do. I think I've looked it up before. So there we go. But I won't call him underappreciated in Star Trek anyway. Everybody loves Jeffrey Combs. But what's Reanimator? You know, if you're easily shocked, don't watch it because it is really gruesome. But it's a lot of fun. It's fun gruesomeness. So there we go. Right, let's move on to the next Star Trek story. Right, what's this one? What have I done? Clicked on an advert. That's what I did. That's what I did. There's bloody adverts all over the place. Go away. I'm going to hit refresh. Right, it's there, isn't it? Reload. See if that gets rid of the ads. Yeah, it has. Right, good. Well, some of them. Got rid of some of them. Right. Right, Star Trek's greatest hero isn't a human and isn't even in Starfleet. And I was thinking, oh, they're on about now. They're on about Spock. And then I thought, no, he's in Starfleet, isn't he? So I didn't know until I did actually. I was curious. I wanted to know what they were on about. So it's not what I was expecting, to be completely honest. Ever since it began, Star Trek, there should be a comma there, Star Trek has been dominated by legendary heroes like Kirk or Picard. You don't need a comma there. I think that's an example of a Oxford comma. Anyway. But that ignores a genuinely underrated icon. Right. When you think of Star Trek's most honourable heroes, your first thoughts probably go to the various captains Kirk, Picard, and if you're a fan with a particularly good memory, Rachel Garrett. But what about non-humans? Easy. There's Spock, Jadzia Dax, Worf, Kieran Reese, Data, Commander Chin Riley. The list goes on. Nobody had said that. Everybody thinks she's human, even though she's not. I forgot. Something else. Illyrian. She's Illyrian, isn't she? Anyway, but what if we told you that Star Trek's actual greatest hero wasn't only not a human, but was also never even involved in Starfleet? That's much more of a challenge, and it's also true. All you have to do is think back to the brilliant Star Trek movie, The Undiscovered Country, it's in Star Trek 6, and the Klingon Chancellor Gorkon, played by the late, great David Warner. For a quick refresher, the events of Star Trek 6 see Chancellor Gorkon set aside the suspicions and instincts of his people in order to reach across the divide and establish peace with the Federation. It's a quest to end years of hostility and painful war after the disaster on Praxis weakens the Klingon Empire. James T. Kirk, the best Star Trek captain of his era, is assigned with beginning the process by escorting Gorkon to Earth in order to commence negotiations. Needless to say, it all goes wrong. Factions both within the Federation and the Klingon Empire attempt to sabotage the peace process, blinded by their prejudice and ingrained hatred. Gorkon is murdered, an act that's pinned on Kirk, establishing the central mystery of the film, which is among the best movies in the franchise by any metric. Yes, it is. So what exactly makes Gorkon Star Trek's most worthy hero? Three factors primarily. First, by the way, there he is. First, Gorkon finds the courage and conviction to set aside his own prejudices and that of his species in order to create peace for future generations. At the start of the movie, that's not something that even Kirk can do, and he'd sooner let the Klingons die, let them die, than consider a peaceful alternative. But Gorkon sees the bigger picture, something that forces him to acknowledge and come to terms with his own past failings and the violent history of his species. And even while he's dying, he says to Kirk, "Don't let this end here," or something like that, he says. There we go. Then there's Gorkon's sacrifice. His mission for peace comes at great personal expense and leads to his death. This was a risk he would have recognised right from the beginning, but he remained resolute throughout, undeterred by the prospect of treacherous plots from those surrounding him. And there he is. Finally, you have the impact of Gorkon's actions in the Next Generation episode, Yesterday's Enterprise, one of the best episodes from any Star Trek series. We see an alternate timeline where war has once again broke out between the Klingons and the Federation, leading to the death of billions. This or another war like it would undoubtedly have begun again in the prime timeline had Gorkon not carried out his mission. The signing of the Khitomer Accords saved an unimaginable number of lives and was a direct consequence of Gorkon's actions and sacrifice. Need more evidence? His name comes from an amalgamation of two modern history's great leaders, Mikhail Gorbachev and Abraham Lincoln. It's a bit of a stretch, isn't it? It's a bit of a stretch. Is that true? Did Nicholas Meyer actually say that? Maybe he did, I don't know, but it's a bit of a stretch, isn't it? Both fought for peace, despite it being the harder option, ultimately for the improvement of the future. Take the Gor from Gorbachev and the Kon from Lincoln, and you have Gorkon, at least phonetically. I think that's a bit of a stretch. But maybe Nicholas Meyer has said that, but I don't know. So step aside, Kirk, Spock, Picard, and Riker. The greatest hero of all the Star Trek characters is Chancellor Gorkon. It's time to put some respect on his name. He had respect. He got a starship named after him, a Excelsior class, I do believe. Which may have been the ship. I could be wrong. I'm sure it was the ship that Admiral Nechayev kind of always seemed to fly about on. I could be wrong. And that's it. Right, there we go. So yes, I wasn't expecting them to say Gorkon as the greatest hero of Star Trek, but he's up there, I suppose, because of what he started. You can also say Spock as well, because he started negotiations, didn't he? He reached out to Gorkon, or Gorkon reached out to him, or whatever. It was Spock that initiated, the events of Star Trek 6, I suppose, by vouching for Captain Kirk. Anyway, so there we go. So I thought that were interesting. Maybe you didn't. Let's move on. Right, with one last story, and it's another Star Trek one. And then we're on to the spooky stuff. Right, this one, it's a gaming one. Look, from Xbox. Star Trek Resurgence, a Star Trek crossover event. Hailing frequencies. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Can't do the sound effect. The ships of Star Trek, the Enterprise, Discovery, Voyager, Defiant, they're all iconic characters in their own right. Well, yeah, except for that one. And that looks like a pizza cutter, does Discovery. God, bloody horrible ship. But if you're a fan, it's highly likely you've thought about leaving space dock in the captain's chair of your own Federation starship. It's all one word, mate. Well, now you can get your hands on the hero ship from our game, Star Trek Resurgence, for free in Star Trek Online. I've not played Star Trek Resurgence, and I want to, but I'm waiting for it to come down in price because I'm tight. Anyway. The USS Resolute is a Centaur-class refit medium cruiser, and it's available to claim now until November 30th for all players of Star Trek Online. Just log into Star Trek Online and head to the Promotions tab in the Sea Store to claim yours. The Resolute is a powerful and versatile ship, and it's the perfect way to explore the galaxy in Star Trek Online. It's also a great way to celebrate the physical disc release of Star Trek Resurgence on Xbox on October 27th. Yeah, so it's out now. On disc. That means it's not coming down in price anytime soon, then, is it? And there's I presume that's the Resolute. Very nice. Right, what is Star Trek Resurgence? It's a choice-driven narrative adventure game set in the Star Trek universe. It's a bit like, the I forgot the Traveller's Tales. Is it them that did them? Like the Batman's, the Walking Dead games, and where that like point and click adventures out the sort of where they give you choices what to say or what to do. They did a Batman one, didn't they? And Game of Thrones did Game of Thrones games as well, didn't they? In that style. Oh, there we go. Oh, Telltale, not Traveller's Tales. If you've ever played a Telltale game, you'll know what to expect. A deep and engaging story with meaningful choices that affect the outcome of the game. What did Traveller's Tales do then? That's another game company, isn't it? Anyway, our game is set after the events of Star Trek Nemesis and ties into a story first seen in Season 1 of Star Trek The Next Generation. Ooh. You'll stand alongside Ambassador Spock in tense diplomatic negotiations. I hope it's not cowboy diplomacy. And call on Captain William T. Riker, voiced by Jonathan Frakes, for guidance as you face an ancient power that threatens the entire galaxy. And there's another view of the ship. It's got long nacelles, hasn't it? Here's a taste of what you can expect in Star Trek Resurgence. Plays two different characters, each with their own unique perspective on the story, the ship's first officer and an engineer from the lower decks. Make difficult choices that will have real impact on the world around you. So I'd fail then. It'd all go wrong. I'd get the bad ending if it's got a bad ending. Explore strange new worlds, meet new alien species, engage in diplomacy, pilot shuttlecraft, and use your tricorder and phaser to overcome challenging puzzles and deadly threats. I might have a look on Amazon or whatever and see how much it is to buy on disc, and I might get it for myself for Christmas. Christmas present to myself. The choices we make are what make us who we are. Spock. We're the studio made up of ex-Telltale game developers and artists, so if you're a fan of Star Trek and choice-driven games, we hope you'll love Star Trek Resurgence. This is obviously a quote. It's available to download now or as a physical disc from your favourite retailer from October 27th, 2023. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, it's 40 quid on Xbox Live. $40. I don't know how much it is in British pounds sterling. So there we go. As I said, I might have a look for that on Amazon and get the disc. Physical media. That's what you want, isn't it? And see how much it is. So there we go. Right, it's time for spooky stuff now. Woo! Get rid of that. Time for spooky stuff now. Right, so with 3 videos to look at, which shall I do first? We'll do this one first. First one's from Bizarre Bub. The second one's from Slapped Ham. And the third one's from Nuke's Top 5. So we're covering 3 of the big uns. Right, so this first one, I can't remember it don't tell us, does it? No, on there. Hang on. Show transcript. Right, here we go. How far down are we? I don't know. Just let me press play a minute. Shush! Where are we? 30 minutes in, right? So just a minute. I just want to get some info before I start. Because as I said, I've got two lots of videos about the same thing. There we go. In Guadalajara, Mexico. Right, right, here we go. Mario Lada, the owner of a store in Guadalajara, Mexico. You may have seen the videos. It's the one where he's got like piñatas and stuff like that. And there's something in his shop that looks like, I don't know, it looks like a doll's head or whatever, but it pops up in all these different places, and it is creepy as hell. But other stuff goes on as well in his shop and in his living area, which I think is around the back of the shop, I think. Anyway, so let's get rid of that. So let's watch this bit first. There's this bit, and then there's a longer bit from Slapped Ham. So anyway, so off we go. I'll have to mute myself, won't I? So right, off we go.
Is the owner of a store in Guadalajara, Mexico, and lately he's been capturing strange activity, from objects flying off the shelves to a power drill going off by itself. It's safe to say that Mario is scared out of his mind. But all of this pales in comparison to the following footage. Late at night, when the store was closed, Mario captures something that is just downright disturbing. There appears to be a devious-looking entity rising from the piñatas. But as if things couldn't get any more disturbing, the following happens during a live stream that Mario was hosting.
Y pues todo normal. Nadie me quiso acompañar.
Valeria Sophie caught something on camera that many viewers, including herself, can't explain.
So we're going on to the next one then, won't we? Right, so that's that one. That's that one. And the next one is actually more of the same, from the same person, I do believe. Anyway, so let's go back a little bit. I think this one goes on quite a while, to be honest. Bear with me. Right. This one's from Slapped Ham. Give off it. Right. This one's from Slapped Ham. And I think it's more of the other things that have happened to Mario Lada's family. It might actually show some of the things we've seen. I'm not sure, but we will see. Right, I have to mute my mic again because there might be an echo. There might not. I don't know, but I don't want to risk it. So I'll mute my mic and we'll watch it again. Not again. You know what I mean. We'll continue watching. Whatever.
Noches, amigos.
In the heart of Mexico, Luan, popularly known online as Joshua Lark, has been consistently sharing his family's unsettling experiences of what they believe to be paranormal occurrences in their home.
Oh, maybe it's not then. I thought they were the same. I thought it were Mario Lad, and I thought it were the same family going through this stuff. Obviously not. See, I'm wrong again. Never mind. Still good and interesting. This is Joshua Luck, not Mario Lad. Whatever. Right.
Home. Originally, Luan's channel was a space for jovial skits featuring his son Joshua. However, the tone quickly shifted when Joshua reported seeing an unaccounted-for child in their store. The family's account of events began innocently enough, with minor disturbances like unexplained noises.
Dios mío, ¿qué es eso? ¿Hay alguien ahí? ¿Quieres algo? No inventes, ¿qué es eso? ¿Qué se abrió?
But as time passed, the intensity of the occurrences grew. Multiple members of Luan's family, including his wife and daughter, began seeing a perplexing figure of a woman within their residence.
Estoy un poco nervioso. Si veo algo en la tienda.
In search of answers, Luan turned to religious and spiritual experts, installing CCTV cameras in the process. Through a medium, it was suggested that two distinct spirits might be haunting the premises. To provide respite for his family, Luan decided on a temporary relocation. Yet, when they returned, they faced even more bizarre phenomena, such as their tap water inexplicably.
That's why I thought there were six. They both own stores. That's why I thought they were same family, but they both own stores. One owns like a pinata sort of store. This other one, I think it's more of a general store. I thought they were the same family. Never mind.
Inexplicably teeming with worms. A priest from Monterey posited a chilling theory suggesting that Luan himself might be the focal point of the disturbances, haunted due to an ancient familial curse. As of now, the family's still in search of a solution to their spectral predicament. Recently, more spine-tingling footage has emerged from their home, further amplifying the mystery. In one video, Marsha, Luan's wife, can be seen tidying the living room. As the camera drifts across their space, an empty room is clearly visible. Yet within moments, as the camera swings back, a dark, shadowy figure emerges from nowhere, only to vanish when the camera moves once again.
¿Nos tomamos una foto, hija? Vete, Luan. Siéntate. Siéntate para tomarnos una foto.
In another video, Marsha's solo encounter is even more harrowing. Alone in the home, she hears the jingle of children's toys from a nearby room. Bracing herself, she begins filming, capturing on her phone an eerie shadow that makes a fleeting appearance in an adjoining space.
De juguete. Mis hijos, los únicos pues juguetes que te marcan, hijo.
The family's chilling tales continue to gain traction online, drawing both skeptics and believers in equal measure. For those intrigued by the paranormal, a deep dive into their videos comes highly recommended. Links to their distressing accounts can be found in the description box down below.
Mentes, se abrió la puerta. Se abrió la puerta como la última vez. Déjenme calma.
We are launching a brand
Shush. Callan. He's grown his hair back. Have you noticed? Shaved it off, did he, during the pandemic? Right, so that's that. That's I don't know if it's real or not, but I just find it interesting, especially with dark shadow figures. I find them interesting. But let's look at the last one, which has nothing to do with this. They're actually totally, all the three of them are not connected, are they? Which I thought they were. But this one's a good one. This is from today. Nuke's Top 5's video from today. I thought this were a good one. You don't see anything, but you just hear things. So here we go. This is a good one. I like this one. The old Willis place.
Willis Place. Urban explorer Robert from the YouTube channel Sidestep Adventures into History is joined by his friend Dan to explore an old abandoned house in the woods near Waverly Hall, Georgia. Dan estimates the house to have been built or rebuilt around the early 1900s, after which it was abandoned sometime in the 1960s. The house is known by locals to be the, quote, Old Willis Place, named after Mr. Willis, a man who lived there and, presumably, also died there. Now, Robert and Dan are determined to find more clues as to exactly how old the house is. They look inside, around, and even underneath the building.
Doesn't that look like an early settlement style chimney there? What's interesting is the chimney looks like an older style than the house looks.
I'm thinking that this was probably built in the early 1900s.
There's a child's spoon. Oh, that's cool. How old do you reckon that is?
That's old. It's not silver, it's brass, silver plated.
Oh, look. Look at the entire stump. Looks like it was cut down, I guess, with an axe. Let me set the light down. I'm gonna touch it. This is an old tree right here. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But while inspecting the foundation of the Old Willis Place, the two explorers are suddenly interrupted by something downright creepy.
Either this was a one-room house, or it was a two-room house with a dog trot hallway down the middle. It's kind of hard to tell from here. It's been a lot of pillars replaced under here.
Yeah.
A lot of floor supports.
So that's a 1958 Coke bottle, right?
What is that?
Oh, that's weird. Here. That is strange. You heard that, right, Dan?
Yes, I did.
That was weird. All right, that's enough of this old house for a minute. We're gonna go look at something else. All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. So I hope you guys have.
Robert and Dan are taking a look underneath the house when suddenly they hear the eerie sound of footsteps on the floor right above them.
What is that?
They quickly crawl out from underneath the house and look inside, but there's no one there. Then, while filming the outro for the video, a loud bang is heard from the Old Willis Place.
All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. So I hope you guys have.
The two explorers are a bit creeped out by the bizarre experience and decide to just get away from the house. They explore the area a bit more and then head home. So could it be that they accidentally captured a paranormal event on camera? Could it be the ghost of old Mr. Willis? You can watch this entire exploration, as well as many more surveys of creepy and historic abandoned locations, over on the YouTube channel, Sidestep Adventures into History.
There we go. I thought I liked that one. I thought that were creepy. Because the reactions seemed genuine when they were underneath that house and you hear these footsteps. The reactions seemed genuine to me. I said, this might be good actors. I don't know. It's like a genuine reaction. They got out of there quick, smart, didn't they? To see what was happening. I was looking in the background to see if you could see any like figures or anything while they were looking around, but I couldn't see anything. But I did like that. And that I'm not sure about the bang. That bang that came later. That sounded a bit like a superimposed sound effect. Might not have been, but it just sounded a bit like that. There's actually another one on this video that I want to look at, so I'll just remove it while I find it. This one's a photo. Let's see if I can find it. Is it? Where is it? I thought it would be before this. Where is it? No, it's not that one. Where did I see? It might not have been on this video then. Might have been on another one I watched earlier on. Yes, I think maybe it was. Oh, never mind, 'cause I can't remember what I saw it on. There were a photo of somebody looking at a house that they were thinking of buying. Sorry, I've given myself the willies now. Looking at it's the cat. Forgot she were in. There were a photo of somebody looking around a house that they were thinking of buying, and they were taking snapshots of the various parts of the house, and there were a creepy figure. I'll see if I can find it. See if I can find that one. What am I doing? I can't remember. What did I see it on now? It might have been on that slapped ham, actually. Let me look back on this slapped ham one. Yes, I think it might have been. Yes, it were on the slapped ham video. Right, off we go then. House hunting horror. There we go. Here we go. Right, so we'll look at this one. Right. This is a spooky photo. Or maybe it's just, a weird atmospheric effect. I don't know.
A recent photo shared on the Ghosts of London Facebook page has the online community buzzing with speculation. The image was taken by a woman while she was exploring potential properties to purchase. While reviewing the pictures later, a particular shot of a hallway with stairs caught her attention. Upon closer inspection, a misty, almost transparent figure resembling a child, possibly a girl, can be seen seated on the steps. The revelation has led to a flurry of comments from the page's followers, with many suggesting that she reconsider the purchase and continue her house hunt elsewhere. With such a mysterious image circulating, it inevitably raises the age-old question, could this be genuine evidence of a spectral presence? Only time will tell if the potential buyer heeds the online community's advice, or if she'll continue to unravel the mystery behind the ghostly apparition all by herself.
So there we go. That's spooky, wasn't it? I'll put it back on. There we go. I say it could just be pareidolia, couldn't it? But it does look weird, doesn't it? You can see like two legs there, bit of a body. You can't see the rest of it, can you? So it could just be pareidolia. Maybe it's just, I don't know, just a weird flash effect. Maybe I don't know if she used the flash. Actually, it looks like, I don't know. It looks like she's taking the picture without a flash to me. It looks like a flashless image, doesn't it? Or it could be a reflection from these lights in the lens. Don't know. It's a weird one, isn't it? Or it could be a ghost. So I like those from today. These were from today, by the way, apart from the bizarre bub one. They were all from today. So there we go. So that's it. That's it for the news for today. I'll make myself big. There we go. That's it for the news for today. So what's coming up next? What would day be on? So tomorrow is Magnificent Mondays, and we're doing Knowing, starring Nicolas Cage. It's a cool film from Alex Proyas before he would go on to make the disaster that was Gods of Egypt. God knows what he was thinking, but anyway. But my brother likes that film, so anyway. So that's tomorrow. Then Tuesday, I've got a busy week this week. Tuesday, we're doing I'm doing a watch party. We're having a appointment with Fear special for Halloween, because it's Halloween on Tuesday. And we're watching 1978's John Carpenter's classic Halloween. We're watching that on Tuesday. Obviously, I can't just play it on screen and watch it because I get to bother, won't I? But I'll have a timer on there. Not a timer, well, a clock. Yeah, a timer on there. And when I hit play, I'll hit play on that, so you'll know, what time we're at, and you can watch it then. But I'll have it playing on this screen here, so I can look at you as I'm watching the film, and hopefully you're watching the film at the same time at home. If you're in the UK, it is on Netflix. Earlier on today, I put on YouTube. It's well done, Netflix. You got rid of Halloween just before Halloween, and they haven't. I had my VPN running for some weird reason, and it thought I was using American Netflix. It's not on American Netflix. It's on the UK Netflix. So I'll probably be watching it on that, to be honest. So hopefully it's the same, got the same timestamps and everything as other versions of Halloween, but we'll see. It'll be roundabout the same, won't it? Roughly. So we can watch that and talk about it, and be a bit like a commentary, I suppose, won't it? As we're going through the film, and, you can join in the chat. I might even drop a link, so if you want to join in, on screen with me, you can, and we could talk about it as we're watching it, and any pearls of wisdom that we know as we're watching it. For instance, look for John Carpenter's cigarette smoke in one shot, stuff like that. Anyway, so there we go. So that's on Tuesday. Then Wednesday's the news again, midweek news, and then Friday I haven't got a disc for that. I've got one somewhere, but I don't know where to put it. It's She Creature. Next Friday's Appointment with Fear. She Creature, a made-for-TV movie. You wouldn't think so. I think it's a really good film. About mermaids, about a killer mermaid. It's really good. I think it is anyway. So that's what's coming up. Right. So we'll leave it there. So thanks for watching. Wherever you are, look after each other. And until next time, I'll say there.